In this video, you are going to finally understand how the forEach method works in JavaScript. The forEach method in JavaScript is important because it provides a way of iterating all the items in the array and perform a specific action for each element in the array. Keep in mind that it is a higher order function, which means it takes a callback function as an argument and executes the callback function for each element in the array. And if you don't know what's a callback function, it's simply a normal method, a normal function that receives as argument that single item of the array, okay? It's just that simple. And more specifically, by the end of this video you're going to learn how to create a simple forEach, the benefits of using this method, the forEach, some real-world applications for this method, its limitations, and some recap and conclusions so you can keep every information that you are going to get here in here. So without further ado, let's get started with the video. You already know that the forEach is used to loop through an array. You might also have already heard around there that to loop through an array you use a for loop. Let me show you guys. Let's create an array called const numbers. It's going to be equals to 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And we are going to use the for loop int var I equals to 0, I less than numbers dot length, I plus plus, and we are going to put console.log numbers I. And what this is going to do is simply showing all of them separately. But if we just, instead of doing this whole for, put numbers.forEach, receive the number, can be value or item, it doesn't matter, because we usually use the numbers, so the plural name for the array and the singular name for a single item, number in this case. Then arrow function, you can use the normal function, but arrow function is more pro. And then console.log the number. And this will return the exact same thing. The amount of stuff that you wrote is pretty much the same thing. However, forEach, it's an inbuilt method that will help you a lot in the future. This is just a comparison between the two of them. Now we are going to understand the benefits of it. The first you could already check, it's the ease of understanding. I to 0, number length and blah 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 and show it all. No, this way it's faster. It's an inbuilt method that will loop through everything using the single item variable. It also has the automatic indexing. You don't really need to put the I for the index, you can simply put the number. The number, it's already in the right index. It has a lot of compatibility with another array methods. Let me just console.log the numbers. And here, this prototype, there are a lot of methods, and it's also compatible with the reduce as an example, with the find, with the map, I don't know where it is, but it's really nice to use with another methods of the family of the arrays. Another thing that's really related to the automatic indexing is that you are not really going to get those errors of out of bound index or that stuff of arrays that you try to access elements that does not exist. With the help of the forEach, this will never happen. The forEach. Never gonna let you down. Now let's get to some real-world applications. We're going to create here an HTML and we are going to create a list of my workout. My workout is a little bit more complex, but well, it's just for the example. We're going to create an unordered list with the ID of list, and let's already add a list item, push-ups. In this way, we have already added the push-ups to our list. However, imagine that you are receiving data from somewhere, from an array, like const exercises equals to pull-up, squats, and abs. And what this will do, it's simply an array with a couple strings, a couple names of exercises. So let's just copy the exercise, the same array, let's put a method for each, and let's put the exercise, the singular, and arrow symbol, then curly braces, and we are going to do the exact same three things for all the items of the array. We are going to create an element of list item, we are going to put the text of the corresponding position of the iteration of the array, and lastly, we are going to append this list item to the list. Let's try it out. Const lie is going to be equals to create element, and then you put here a list item, then you put lee.text content is going to be equals to the exercise, the singular one that you are writing right here, and then you are going to say that document.get element by ID. Now we are going to check the actual ID, which is list, the ID of the UL, and put here the list dot append child, and you're going to put here the list, the variable, this item. And this way, you should already, there's an error, create element is not defined. It's document.create element. Now it should be working. We'll wait a little bit, and there you go. And the JavaScript dynamically added all the items of the array into our list with the help of the DOM and the forEach. Now there's another pretty good example, like an array that has a person's name and age, and we are going to create another array based on the first array using some conditions on the age. Let's create the people. People is going to be equals to name Diogo, age 19, then the master, since it's old but knows a lot of stuff, is going to have the age of 150 years, and then we are also going to have the John, and simply put the age of 21, a little bit older than me. And then you're going to simply create another empty array of people, so filtered people is going to be empty, and we are also going to use the forEach on the people. People.forEach is going to be a person with a singular, an irregular noun, and then just create a function, right? If person.age is smaller than 30, so if it's pretty young compared to the master, of course, we are going to add it. So filtered people.push, we are going to push the exact person. So if we console log it later, we are going to receive only the Diogo and the John, which has the, well, age of less than 30. And this is a pretty fast and simple example of how you could use the forEach in the real world, in the real applications. Now, the limitations. It has a couple limitations, just as everything in the world. And the first one is that it cannot really break the loop. You cannot use the return, the continue, or even the break. It is not possible to leave the loop before every iteration finishes. It can also be a little bit of an overkill when thinking about performance, because with large sets of data, it can be a little bit slow. Imagine running a function for every item of the array. So when working with large sets of data, seek a for or something like that, something a little bit smoother, you see? Another problem of it is that it cannot really change any value of the original array inside of the loop. So you cannot really use the push, the pop, and or remove items inside the loop. Other prototype methods of arrays cannot really be executed inside of a forEach. But yes, you can create another array, okay? You can create another array and push it into another array, just as we've done with the people. Another thing is the asynchronous code. Since forEach is a synchronous method, asynchronous code cannot really work too well, or don't even work, okay guys? And lastly, the limited browser support. In older browsers it can be a little bit demanding. If you really want to make an application for older browsers, I do not really recommend using the forEach. But if it's not really for old ones, it has a really nice safety margin, 96%. So pretty much every browser supports the forEach. You can really use it with no trouble, okay guys? Let's make a really fast recapitulation so you can insert everything into your brain directly. Firstly, the forEach is a higher order method, so you put a callback function, a simple method that receives a single item as argument and executes that same function for every element of the array. It's iterating, looping through everything. forEach is really good because it can help you avoid trouble and errors, and it's really simple to write with. So it has the automatic indexes and it has a pretty clean experience for a programmer because you can understand it really fast reading the code. It is really good to work with the DOM since you can iterate through every item or just put every item of a DOM or from the array into the DOM, as we just saw in the examples, and you can also use it to make conditions and create another arrays based on those conditions. It also has some limitations. You cannot really leave the loop before every item is iterated, so no breaks, no returns, no continues. It is a little bit slower than the for or other ways of iterate through an array, because executing a function for every item it's a little bit demanding, large sets of data it's a little bit hard, and finally you cannot really add or remove or use another methods of the array prototype inside the forEach. Although you can use them for other arrays, the original array cannot really be changed. For this video, it's everything. I hope you all understand everything, or at least could get a little bit of insight of this forEach method. And don't forget, when in doubt, leave a comment that I will help you out. I'm Diogo Veigas and I'll see you in the next video.